You wake up with a toothache. Not the kind that fades by lunch, the kind where every heartbeat lands in your jaw like a hammer. You can't eat. You can't sleep. Cold air feels like a knife. Now delete every painkiller, every antibiotic, every dentist, every tube of toothpaste from existence. No fix, no relief, no appointment to book. For most of human history, that wasn't a nightmare scenario. That was Tuesday. So logic says our ancestors' mouths must have been a disaster zone, right? No brushing, no flossing, no fluoride. Their teeth should have been rotting out of their skulls by 30. Here's the problem. They weren't. When archaeologists started cracking open the skulls of ancient hunter-gatherers, they found something that shouldn't have been possible. Straight teeth. Dense, intact enamel. Cavities so rare they were almost a novelty. Some of these people made it to old age with nearly every tooth still in their head. Meanwhile, right now, in a world of electric toothbrushes, mouthwash, and a dentist on every corner, tooth decay is still one of the most common diseases on the planet. How does a species with zero dental hygiene outperform a species with entire industries built around dental hygiene? It's not genetics. It's not that ancient humans were somehow immune to bacteria. Bacteria have been running this planet for billions of years, and they didn't take a break for the Stone Age. And it's definitely not that ancient people were just better at brushing with, nothing. The answer is hiding somewhere much stranger. In what they ate, how they ate it, and how often they got the chance to eat it all. Let's go back about 100,000 years. No alarm clock, no fridge humming in the kitchen. A group of hunter-gatherers wakes up before sunrise, and breakfast is not guaranteed. If they want to eat today, they have to go earn it, digging roots out of hard ground, cracking nuts that fight back, tracking an animal for hours with no promise of a kill. Every calorie is paid for in effort. Some days, the hunt fails. Some days, there's nothing. And when there is food, it's nothing like what's sitting in your fridge right now. No candy, no soda, no cereal, no hidden sugar smuggled into a sauce, just whatever nature was willing to hand over that day. Tough, fibrous, unprocessed, and completely unpredictable. Your teeth were not built for cake. They were built for this. Now here's where it gets interesting, because bacteria didn't just show up recently. Plaque isn't a modern invention, so if the bacteria were already there, waiting, ready to wreck teeth, why didn't they? Scientists went looking for the answer in the last place you'd expect: fossilized plaque. Actual ancient bacteria, trapped and preserved on skeletons for thousands of years. And when they compared it to what's living in your mouth right now, they found the twist. The bacteria hadn't changed much at all. We did. About 12,000 years ago, humans made a decision that would quietly rewire the inside of every mouth on Earth. We stopped wandering and started farming. Wheat, barley, rice, corn. Villages grew into towns, towns into civilizations. Food got predictable. Populations exploded. But something else was happening at the same time, and almost nobody noticed. Compare the skulls of hunter-gatherers to the skulls of the first farmers, and the difference jumps out immediately. Worn enamel, gum disease, tooth loss, a sudden spike in cavities that has nothing to do with forgetting how to take care of yourself, and everything to do with what just landed on the dinner table. Grains became the new staple. Bread, porridge, later refined flour. Bread doesn't even taste sweet to you. But the second it hits your mouth, enzymes start ripping the starch apart into simple sugar. And that sugar is exactly what acid-producing bacteria have been waiting for. They multiply, they feed, and as a byproduct, they release acid that eats straight through the enamel, protecting your teeth. Cavities were never really about food getting stuck in your teeth. They're about bacteria converting carbs into acid. Farming didn't hand bacteria a treat. It handed them a 24-hour buffet, and that was only round one. Thousands of years later, a second invention showed up and turned the volume all the way up: refined sugar. For a hunter-gatherer, sweetness was rare enough to be an event. A wild beehive, if you were lucky and willing to fight off an army of angry bees for it. A short window of ripe berries once a year. Sugar was a reward you had to earn. Now it's in your bread, your sauce, your yogurt, your healthy granola bar. Every soda, every cookie, every sugary coffee is another green light for the bacteria in your mouth to start another acid attack. And most people don't even register it as sugar at all. But diet is only half this story. The other half is something almost nobody thinks about: how hard your ancestors had to chew. Picture a hunter-gatherer's actual meal, not a plate of pasta you can swallow after 3 bites. Every single meal was a workout, and that constant grinding did something modern food never gets the chance to do. It physically built the bones of the face wider and stronger, starting in childhood. Now look at a skull from that era, and you'll notice something that looks almost impossible today: a jaw broad enough to comfortably fit all 32 teeth, including the ones that cause us so much grief now: wisdom teeth. Here's the myth you've probably heard 100 times: that wisdom teeth are a leftover mistake, evolution's glitch, a tooth nobody asked for. That's wrong. Wisdom teeth weren't the problem. For a hunter-gatherer with a jaw built by a lifetime of hard chewing, they weren't useless extras. They were functional tools doing real work. The problem is that your jaw never got the workout theirs did. Soft bread, mashed food, pasta, fast food. None of it demands much from your jaw muscles, so the bone never gets the signal to grow as wide. But your teeth didn't get the memo. They're still showing up expecting the same amount of real estate your ancestors had. Cue the crowding, the crooked smiles, the wisdom teeth trapped beneath the gum with nowhere left to go. Evolution moves in geological time. Your diet changed in a few thousand years. Your genes are still trying to catch up. And somewhere in a dentist's chair, that gap is showing up as an extraction. Even scientists studying indigenous communities that still eat traditional, minimally processed diets today have found the same pattern: broader jaws, fewer orthodontic problems, almost like stepping back into the fossil record. Your bones respond to how they're used. Every tough bite is a rep at the gym for your face. But don't picture ancient humans walking around with flawless, untouched teeth either. Look closer at those ancient molars under a microscope, and you'll find something else: flat chewing surfaces, chipped enamel, deep grooves worn in over decades. At first glance, it looks brutal. Here's the twist: that's not decay, that's wear. And those are two completely different stories. Modern cavities come from acid-eating enamel from the inside out. Ancient wear came from grinding against tough plant fiber, grit, sand, and stone-ground grain. More like the tread on a tire, slowly wearing thin over years of use than a sudden mechanical failure. Anthropologists think ancient people simply expected their teeth to wear down over a lifetime. Not a medical emergency. Just the cost of being alive. Which means modern mouths and ancient mouths failed in almost opposite ways. We keep the surface of our teeth pristine for decades, while bacteria quietly hollow them out from the inside. They wore their teeth down from the outside, while staying largely free of the infections that plague us. The real danger was never chewing too much. It's chewing the wrong things. And it was about to get so much worse. For most of human history, sugar was a luxury only a privileged few could ever taste. Then, the Industrial Revolution handed factories away to refine sugar cheaply, at massive scale, and sweetness stopped being a rare reward and became a daily habit almost overnight. Within a handful of generations, people were eating more sugar than their ancestors saw across entire lifetimes. To your taste buds, that's delicious. To the bacteria colonizing your mouth, it's an endless buffet that never closes. Your body does have a defense system. Saliva constantly washes your teeth with calcium and phosphate, quietly repairing tiny patches of damage in a process called remineralization. Under normal conditions, it actually works. But normal conditions assumes gaps between meals. Ancient humans got long stretches with nothing to eat, which gave that repair system time to finish the job. You don't get those gaps. Coffee in the morning, something sweet before work, biscuits in a meeting, juice at lunch, chocolate in the afternoon, dessert after dinner. Every single one of those restarts the acid attack before the last one even finished healing. It's like trying to rebuild a sandcastle while someone keeps stomping on it every few minutes. Eventually, the ocean wins. That's why dentists will tell you it's not just how much sugar you eat, it's how often. And there's a deeper twist buried in your mouth that most people never hear about. Scientists studying the oral microbiome, the massive community of bacteria living in there right now, used to think of bacteria as simply the enemy, except your mouth hosts hundreds of bacterial species, and a lot of them are actually protecting you, crowding out the harmful ones, keeping the whole ecosystem in balance. A sugar-heavy diet doesn't just feed the bad bacteria, it rewires the entire ecosystem in their favor. The same way an invasive species can quietly take over a forest without knocking a single tree down overnight. Which is why two people can use the same toothbrush, the same toothpaste, see the same dentist, and one gets hit with cavity after cavity while the other never does. The battle isn't happening on the surface, it's happening in an ecosystem you can't see. So does that mean we should throw out the toothbrush and eat like it's 100,000 BC? Not exactly. And the real story here isn't that ancient life was healthier across the board. It wasn't. A cracked tooth back then could mean a slow, agonizing infection with absolutely no way to stop it. No fillings, no anesthesia, no emergency clinic. Some people undoubtedly died from something a modern dentist fixes in a single afternoon. The real lesson is this: the most common dental problems on Earth today are shockingly recent. Evolution spent millions of years engineering a mouth for tough food, long gaps between meals, and rare, hard-won sweetness. Then, in an evolutionary blink, we rebuilt the entire environment around that mouth, and left the mouth exactly the way it was. Your enamel, by the way, is the hardest substance in your entire body, harder than bone. It's not fragile. It's just being asked to survive a chemical war it was never designed to fight, with no time to recover between rounds. And here's the part worth sitting with. Modern dentistry isn't proof that we got weaker. It's proof we got smarter. We stopped accepting pain as an unavoidable part of existence and learned to stop infections, rebuild teeth, and understand a microscopic world our ancestors couldn't have imagined. Every filling, every fluoride treatment, every X-ray is humanity patching a gap between the world our biology expected and the one we actually built. Your teeth are living proof of something much bigger than dental hygiene. They're caught between two timelines. One ancient, one modern. And every time you pick up a toothbrush, you're not just cleaning enamel. You're helping a Stone Age mouth survive a world it never evolved for. Ancient humans rarely needed dentists because they were living in the exact world their bodies were built for. We need dentists because we built a different one.